On our silver wedding anniversary, my husband gave me divorce papers instead of a gift. 25 years is long enough, he announced in front of all our guests. I want someone young now, and you need to be out of the condo by tomorrow. He seemed to have forgotten that my parents gifted me that condo. His mother, Celeste Price, just smiled silently. I rose, took the microphone, and said something that left him speechless. That night, Naomi Sterling woke up to whispers from behind the bedroom door. Her husband, Darren Price, was on the phone with his mother again, at 3 a.m. His voice sounded strangely excited. Naomi lay still in the dark, catching snippets of the conversation. "We have to do this right," Darren's voice insisted. "She won't suspect a thing." "Of course not, son," his mother replied. Naomi tensed. What were they plotting in secret? And why now, just a few weeks before their milestone anniversary? The hardwood floor creaked as Darren returned to the room. Naomi quickly shut her eyes, pretending to be asleep. He slipped into bed carefully, but she could feel his body was stiff, restless. The next morning, everything felt odd. Darren was unnaturally affectionate. "Naomi, my love," he said, kissing her cheek. He smelled of expensive cologne. "How about we choose the restaurant for our anniversary today? I want everything to be perfect." "Perfect?" Naomi raised an eyebrow. In 25 years of marriage, Darren had never been so enthusiastic about a family celebration. She always organized everything, and he only found fault. "Fine," she replied carefully, watching him rush off to work. His cell phone was on the nightstand. The screen lit up with a notification. Naomi couldn't help but look. It was a calendar reminder. Call S at 11 a.m. "Hey, Dee," she asked casually, watering the window plants. "Who's the S you have in your contacts?" Darren spun around abruptly. For a second, Naomi saw panic flash in his eyes, but he quickly calmed himself. Sanchez, a colleague from Seattle, just consulting him on a work issue." A lie. Naomi knew her husband like the back of her hand. When he lied, his left eye always twitched, just as it was doing now. "I see," she replied with a smile, but deep inside, her chest tightened. Once he left, Naomi stood by the window, gazing at the gray October sky over Georgetown. 25 years. A quarter century. They met in college. She was a brilliant accounting student. He was an up-and-coming manager. They married for love, dreaming of children and a big family. But children never came. Doctors found nothing wrong, but the miracle never happened. Darren took it hard, especially when his mother, Celeste, started making passive-aggressive comments about grandchildren. In time, they accepted being childless and focused on the positives, more time for themselves, for travel, and for career advancement. But something vital had shifted between them. A knock on the door pulled her from her thoughts. Standing there was Celeste Price, her mother-in-law, with her usual frigid smile. "Naomi, dear," she said, entering the condo without waiting for an invitation. "How are you? Are you preparing for the party?" Celeste always treated Naomi with exaggerated courtesy, but maintained a great distance. In 25 years of marriage, she never once called Naomi her daughter. "Slowly but surely," Naomi replied, leading her to the living room. "Darren wants to celebrate at a restaurant." "Very good," Celeste responded brightly. "A respectable venue with guests. Doing everything at home just doesn't show how important the date is." She began looking around the living room as if evaluating it. Naomi knew that look. It always made her feel, without a single word being spoken, that Celeste's suburban mansion was larger and better decorated. "By the way, Naomi dear," Celeste said, settling into an armchair, "I've been thinking about the future. Darren is not so young anymore. He's 53. And, well, we don't have grandchildren. Don't you think it would be a good idea to write a will for the grandkids, just in case?" Naomi felt a chill. "What grandchildren, Celeste? We don't have children." "Well, for my nephews," she said dismissively, waving her hand. "I have 2 nephews, good boys, studying, working. If we don't, the government will take everything. Naomi slowly placed her teacup on the table. "And where do you keep the condo papers?" Celeste suddenly asked, as if it were a casual afterthought. "I'm just thinking about the boys' future. The nephews, the young people." That was it. Naomi understood the subtext. "They're in the safe," she replied dryly. "But why do you ask?" "Oh, just in case. You never know what might happen. It's good to know where things are." When Celeste finally left, Naomi sat in silence, piecing things together. The late-night call, Darren's strange burst of affection, and now Celeste's pointed questions about the house title. Bit by bit, the puzzle was forming, and she did not like the picture. She went to check Darren's computer. He had never changed the password before. He always used a simple key, the date they met. But it didn't work this time. Her heart raced. In 25 years, he had never kept secrets from her. She tried his birthday. Nothing. She tried his mother's. Nope. Then it occurred to her to try their wedding date, but in reverse. It worked. The browser history opened, and what she saw gave her a knot in her stomach. How to divorce when shared assets exist. Spousal rights in property division. Legal advice for separation. He had searched all of this over the past 2 weeks. With trembling fingers, she scrolled page after page. How to keep the condo in a divorce. Legal tricks for dividing assets. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was her friend, Candace. "Naomi, you won't believe what I saw. You're Darren. I saw him at a jeweler's in Tyson's Galleria with a young woman. They were looking at rings. She was clinging to him, hugging him like nothing." "What did she look like?" Naomi interrupted softly. About 30, blonde, very put together, wearing a super expensive coat. Pretty, but she looked superficial. And they were so openly affectionate. "Are you okay, Naomi?" "Yes," Naomi lied. "Everything's fine." But nothing was fine. That evening, Darren returned with a bouquet of roses and a box of fancy chocolates. "For my one and only true love," he said confidently, kissing her lips. One and only. How ironic, Naomi thought. She looked him straight in the eye. "We need to talk seriously about our future." Darren tensed. It was subtle, but she saw it. "Talk about what?" he asked, turning on the TV, pretending to be absorbed in the programming. "Everything's fine, right? The anniversary is in 1 week. All our friends will be there. Let's not spoil the mood with serious topics. We'll talk after the party, okay?" After the party. That meant something big was planned for the party itself. Naomi nodded, feigning acceptance, but felt an icy coldness within. After 25 years, she knew her husband well. He was preparing something, calmly and coldly, involving his mother and surely a lawyer. What Darren didn't know was that Naomi had an ace up her sleeve, something that could unravel all his plans. And for now, she wasn't going to tell him a thing. The next day, Naomi woke up with a knot in her stomach, as if a terrible tragedy had struck the day before and she was just learning to live with it. Darren left early without breakfast. "I have a meeting," he said. A meeting? Naomi thought bitterly. She knew exactly who that meeting was with. At 11 a.m., the home phone rang. Darren had forgotten his cell phone, leaving it face down in the kitchen. Naomi didn't answer, but the answering machine recorded the message. "Dee, it's Mom. I spoke to Mr. Hayes. Everything can be arranged. The important thing is that she doesn't suspect anything until the very last moment. Call me when you're free." Hayes, the supposed Seattle colleague. Now it all made sense. Naomi felt the ground give way beneath her. 25 years. A quarter century beside a man who was now planning his betrayal like office paperwork. She approached Darren's phone. It required a 6-digit code. She tried the date they met. September 1, 1999. Nope. She tried Celeste's birthday. Nothing. Then she remembered the blonde from the jeweler's. Her intuition told her to try March 8, International Women's Day. It worked. The lover's birthday. The texts confirmed everything. "Sierra, my love, a little more patience. After the anniversary, everything will be resolved. The condo will be ours. Dee, you said we'd be living together by New Year's. I'm tired of hiding. My love, everything is going according to plan. Mom has already taken care of things. Naomi suspects nothing. Hayes says if we play this right, she'll only get half. I'll keep the condo. Naomi slumped into a chair, her hands shaking. They were planning her life as if she were a piece of secondhand property. Darren, his mother, the lawyer Hayes, the mistress Sierra, all tangled in a trap where she was the prey. And the worst was yet to come. Hey, Mom, are you sure the condo title is in both our names? Maybe we got lucky and it's just mine. Son, I saw the copies when you bought it. Both names are on it. But Hayes says there are ways. The important thing is she signs the waiver, and if she won't sign, she will sign. After what we're going to do to her at the party, she won't have any other option. What did they plan to do to her? Naomi felt anxiety rising in her throat. They were going to humiliate her in front of everyone, accuse her of something. Without wasting time, she copied all the important messages to her own phone and put Darren's phone back where she found it. She needed a plan. She needed help. She called Aisha Cole, her college friend, now a family attorney. They didn't talk often, but their friendship remained strong. Naomi, Aisha said when she answered. Long time no talk. How are you? Can we meet today? Naomi asked, trying to sound calm. I need a consultation. Sure, I'm free at 6. Come to the office and we'll talk. Aisha's office was downtown, in a modern high-rise. She greeted Naomi with a hug, but immediately noticed the tension. Sit down. Tell me everything. What happened? Naomi took a deep breath. Let's just say an acquaintance of mine is having trouble with her husband. He wants a divorce but is hiding it, and it seems he's setting a trap. Aisha looked at her intently. You sure this is a hypothetical acquaintance, Naomi? Naomi was silent for a few seconds, then told her everything. The late-night calls, the phone messages, Sierra, her mother-in-law's scheming, everything. Aisha listened, occasionally asking for clarification. I understand, she said finally. This is serious, but you're not lost. The good news is you reacted in time. Tell me about the house. When did you buy it? Whose name is on the title? We put both names on it in 2005, equal shares. Are you formally employed? Yes, I'm the controller at Alliance Development Group. I've been there for 15 years. And the weekend cabin is also in both names, but it's not worth much. The condo is the main asset. Aisha jotted down notes. Naomi, they can't do anything to you if you keep a clear head. In a divorce, everyone receives what is legally theirs. No one can force you to waive your share. But it's clear they are planning something dirty. They want to put you in a weak emotional position, a scandal, an accusation, something to break you. You need to be ready. How do I prepare? Gather evidence. Take photos of the messages. Record conversations if you can. Move some of the money into an account only in your name. Most importantly, don't let them know that you know what they're doing. Naomi nodded. For the first time in days, she felt something close to relief. She had a plan. She had support. Thanks, Aisha. How much do I owe you? Aisha smiled. Nothing, girl. Friends don't charge. Just keep me in the loop. And remember, no matter what happens, you are not alone or defenseless. Naomi returned home determined to act, but what she found upon arrival confirmed the war had already begun. Darren was by the entrance, checking himself in the mirror. You look kind of run down today, huh? He blurted out without looking at her directly. Forgive me, but yes, Naomi, you've let yourself go a bit lately. Look, turning 50 isn't the end of the world, but you need to take care of yourself. Go to the gym, see the dermatologist, get something done. I saw Candace's daughter today. She's 30, but looks 25, very polished. And you? Well, you understand. He was comparing her to younger women, setting the stage to justify his betrayal. I have a meeting tomorrow, he announced suddenly. It's Saturday, but it will take all day. Another date with Sierra. That's fine, Naomi replied calmly. And Sunday, I'm going with Mom. I'm going to set up her new smart TV. Spending time with the Trader's family. That night, When Darren was in the shower, Naomi reviewed their joint bank account online. In the last month, $30,000 had been withdrawn in several transactions, gifts for Sierra, payments to the lawyer, and who knows what else, all with their shared money. Naomi let out a nervous, brittle laugh. They were using her own money to plan her downfall, but she had an ace up her sleeve. Something they didn't know. A week prior, a letter had arrived from a notary. Her Aunt Josephine, her father's older sister, had passed away in Germany. She had no children or spouse. She left her entire estate to Naomi, her only niece. This included a condo in Munich valued at $800,000, USD equivalent, a bank account with $570,000, USD equivalent, another luxury investment condo in Miami Beach, Florida. Total value, over $3 million. Naomi hadn't told anyone. She wanted to surprise Darren on their anniversary, but now that money and property were her salvation, she opened her laptop and began researching how to register the inheritance, transfer the funds to her personal account, and legally protect herself from the people who saw her as a fool. Darren thought he held all the cards, but the game was just beginning. On Monday, Naomi woke up with a clear plan. First, she visited a notary, but not the one handling her aunt's case. She went to see an old acquaintance, Mr. Perry, the real estate lawyer who had helped them purchase the condo years ago. Naomi Sterling, how many years? And how is Darren Price doing? Mr. Perry, an older gentleman, greeted her with a smile. Mr. Perry, I need your help, she said, entering his office, but it has to be strictly confidential. The lawyer's face grew serious. Sit down. I'm listening. Do you remember our condo on M Street in Georgetown? You did the title work in 2005. Of course. A very good unit in a fine building. Do you recall who purchased it first? I mean, where did the money come from? Mr. Perry frowned, opened an old file, and searched for a moment. Here it is. It was an unusual case. The money came directly from your parents' account, and in the deed of gift, you are listed as the sole recipient. Darren was added 2 months later, as your husband. Naomi felt a surge of warmth in her chest. So, it's formally a premarital asset? Formally, yes. Your parents gifted it to you before Darren's name appeared on the documents. In case of divorce, that can make all the difference. He could only claim something if he proves he invested in major renovations. Naomi smiled faintly. Darren never spent a dime on the condo. She had done everything herself. Could you give me a confirming document? Of course. Come back tomorrow afternoon. It will be ready. Leaving the office, Naomi felt different. After so many days, she finally felt strong, protected. But what awaited her at home left her breathless. A courier delivered a thick envelope from Germany, the final papers for Aunt Josephine's inheritance. Naomi read the lines with the help of a summary. A condo in Munich valued at $800,000, a bank account with $570,000, and the luxury investment condo in Miami Beach. More than $3 million in total. She sat in the living room. She was now a wealthy, independent, free woman, but Darren shouldn't know. Not yet. Her phone rang. It was Darren, his voice overly cheerful. Naomi, my love, I was thinking, what if we really celebrate our anniversary? Colleagues, friends, everyone. Why such a big deal, Dee? Why? It's 25 years. A silver anniversary. I want everyone to see what a perfect family we have. I already reserved the ballroom at the Watergate Hotel for 100 people. 100 people for her public humiliation. Isn't that expensive, Darren? We're supposed to be saving. Don't worry about it, he interrupted. The money is there. The important thing is the impression. We'll invite my boss, yours. Everyone needs to see how happy we are. What a cynical lie. Fine, Naomi said calmly. Whatever you say. Perfect. I have a meeting with some partners. We'll talk tonight. Partners? Naomi knew what that meant. In the afternoon, Celeste Price arrived with a gift. Naomi, dear, she said in a sugary voice, handing her an envelope. This is from me to you. It was a consultation with an excellent family lawyer. Just in case, you never know. Naomi opened the envelope. A business card. Hayes and Associates, Divorce and Property Law. With a note. Free consultation anytime. The audacity. They were giving her a consultation with the very lawyer who was planning her betrayal. "Thank you," Naomi said dryly. "Very thoughtful." "I worry about you, daughter." Daughter. For the first time in 25 years, her mother-in-law called her that, just before stabbing her in the back. After Celeste left, Naomi began to clean. In one of Darren's jackets, she found a crumpled card. Mr. Hayes, family law, divorce, asset division, alimony. The same lawyer, the same plan. Darren came home late that night, cheerful and smelling of expensive perfume. He hugged Naomi. "Everything is ready. Restaurant, menu, guests. It will be unforgettable." Naomi looked at him coldly. He was right. It was going to be unforgettable, just not the way he imagined. "Dee, what cologne are you wearing? That's not yours." He hesitated. "I got on the elevator with the neighbor. She wears a very strong perfume, and it clung to my jacket, one lie after another. By the way," he said, walking toward the window, "at the anniversary, I'm going to give a special speech about our life and our future plans." "What plans?" "You'll see. It's a surprise." A surprise? Naomi felt a chill. She couldn't sleep that night. Around 2 a.m., she heard a murmur. Darren was on the phone in the hallway. She got up quietly and pressed her ear to the bedroom door. "Mom, everything is perfect. The restaurant is booked. Guests are confirmed. After the toast, it will all just happen. Are you sure she doesn't suspect anything?" "How would she suspect? She's naive like a child. She's always trusted me, and she still does. And if she doesn't want to sign the papers, she will sign. After what I tell her in front of everyone, she'll have no other option. Everyone will see what she's really like, you know. Dee, don't you think it would be better to do it privately, at home without a scene?" "No, Mom, it has to be in front of everyone. That way, she won't be able to make a scene or demand explanations. She'll go straight home, and Hayes will be waiting for her there with the papers. Quick, clean, and no drama. And Sierra already knows. Of course, she's even coming to the anniversary. I want her to meet my colleagues. I'm going to introduce her as my new assistant." "You're cruel." "It's not cruelty, Mom. It's being practical. 25 years was enough. I deserve to be happy too, even if it's at her expense." Naomi went back to bed but couldn't sleep. So Sierra was going to be at the party too. She was going to witness the humiliation of her rival and then take her place in the home. That's what they thought. In the morning, Naomi went to the bank. She opened a personal account and transferred half of the money from the joint savings. If Darren wanted to continue spending on his mistress, he would do it with his half. Then she went to the lawyer for the document confirming that the condo was hers from before the marriage. Next, she went to work. "Mr. Boudreau," she said to her boss, entering his office. "Can I speak with you?" "Of course, Naomi Sterling. Is everything all right?" "Everything is fine, for now. I just wanted to warn you that I will soon be entering a difficult personal phase." "Divorce?" he asked, frowning. "Seriously? I thought you two were solid. You even invited me to your anniversary." "That's exactly why I want to warn you. If things go wrong, I hope I can count on your support. My work won't be affected. You are the best controller we've had in 15 years. Whatever happens, your job is safe." That night, while Darren was at another meeting, Naomi took out the inheritance documents. She needed a clear, well-thought-out plan. The Miami Beach condo was empty. Aunt Josephine had rented it out, but the contract had ended a month ago. Naomi could move there after the divorce. With the money in the German bank, she had financial independence for years. And most importantly, the document proving the D.C. condo was hers from before the marriage. Darren would never see that coming. Tomorrow was the anniversary. He thought he would deliver the final blow, but he was the one about to be blindsided. Naomi put all the papers in the safe and smiled. Thursday morning, she went to the German consulate. She needed to formalize the inheritance to access Aunt Josephine's accounts. The consul, an older gentleman with a neatly trimmed beard, reviewed the documents carefully. "Everything in order, Mrs. Sterling. Your aunt was a very prudent woman. The bank accounts will be unlocked in 1 week. And regarding the Miami Beach condo, ownership passes to your name immediately. Here are the papers. You can dispose of it as you wish." Naomi carefully put the documents in her bag. She now owned 3 properties, over $1 million in cash, and, most valuable of all, complete freedom. That same day, she opened another account in euros to prepare for the international transfer. The bank advisor, a young woman, looked at the numbers in the papers with wide eyes. "Wow, you did very well with the inheritance, didn't you?" "Yes," Naomi smiled. "My aunt was an incredible woman." Leaving the bank, she felt a weight lift from her. For the first time in years, she felt truly free and independent. She no longer cared what Darren planned. That was no longer her problem. But the surprise waiting for her outside the Watergate Hotel was a sharp blow. She had gone to check on the anniversary party arrangements, and right by the entrance, a young blonde woman in an expensive coat was talking on the phone. "Dee, my love, it's incredible," Sierra was saying in a sickly sweet voice. "The ballroom is huge, the decor is divine. You promised we'd live in a huge condo soon, and I can already imagine hosting parties there." It was Sierra, her husband's mistress. She was only a few feet away, talking excitedly about the life she would have with him. Naomi stood still, watching her. There was no doubt she was pretty, about 30, great figure, well-kept hair, perfect nails, but her eyes were empty, cold, and calculating. "Of course, I understand tomorrow will be difficult," Sierra continued. "But you said after your speech she'd understand everything, and I'll be there as your new assistant. Romantic, right?" "Publicly humiliating your wife is romantic." Naomi walked closer. "Excuse me, do you know where the manager is?" Sierra turned, looked Naomi up and down with disdain. "No idea," she replied coldly. "I don't work here." She returned to her phone. "Dee, there's some lady asking me questions here. Okay, see you tonight. I love you." Some lady? Naomi smiled to herself. Tomorrow, this lady would deliver a big surprise. The restaurant manager, a kindly, plump woman, received Naomi with a smile. "You're here about tomorrow's anniversary? Mr. Price already paid for everything. Ballroom for 100 people, banquet, live music." "And how much did all that cost?" $45,000. Your husband requested the best of the best." $45,000 to humiliate her in public. Naomi nodded. "I see. Can I see the ballroom?" Yes, the room was luxurious. High ceilings, crystal chandeliers, immaculate white tablecloths, enormous mirrors on the walls. All the guests would have a perfect view of the spectacle. "Where will the microphone for the toasts be?" Naomi asked. "Right here in the center," the manager said. "Mr. Price insisted that everyone hear him." Of course. So no one misses the humiliation. At home, Darren was waiting, nervous, pacing with the paper in his hand. "Ah, Naomi," he said, quickly putting the paper away. "Where were you?" "At the restaurant, checking everything. What did you think of it?" "Impressive. $45,000 for one night. Seriously, Dee, don't you think that's too much? We have other plans, right?" "Don't worry about it," he scoffed. "The money is there. The important thing is to make a good impression. On the guests or on the mistress?" That night, Celeste Price arrived, completely excited. "Dee, son, are you ready? Did you rehearse your speech?" "Of course, Mom. Everything will be perfect. Don't worry." She patted his shoulder. "Your speech will be a success. Everyone will see that you made the right decision." The right decision. Naomi watched them from the kitchen, the rage building inside. "Mom, what if she makes a scene?" Darren asked. "She won't," Celeste replied confidently. "With so many people, she'll hold it together. She's an educated woman. They'll settle things at home. And Hayes, is he ready?" "Yes, the papers are done. All she needs to do is sign. After your speech, she'll have no choice." Naomi quietly went to the bedroom and took her own papers from the drawer. She had everything ready. She put all the documents into a small folder, the paper stating the condo was hers from before the marriage, the inheritance documents, and the statement for her new bank account. Tomorrow, those documents would change everything. Later that night, when Celeste had left, Darren locked himself in his study. Naomi heard him rehearsing his speech, murmuring words to himself. She approached the door and listened intently. Dear friends, today is a special day. 25 years ago, I made a decision that seemed right. But life moves on, people change, and sometimes you have to have the courage to admit your mistakes. Mistakes? 25 years of marriage was his mistake. I thank Naomi for these years, but honesty demands I speak the truth. We are different people with different values, with different plans for the future, and I have made a decision. The rest was muffled, but the meaning was clear. Naomi returned to the bedroom. She had no desire to sleep. In the morning, Darren woke up in a good mood. Naomi, he said, adjusting his tie knot in front of the mirror, today is a great day. Yes, our anniversary. Not just that, he said, smiling strangely. Tomorrow, your life is going to change, and so is mine, completely. Completely? You'll see. You're going to be surprised. Surprised. Dee, can I ask you a question? Sure. What is it? Did you ever really love me? Truly? He froze, tie in hand. What a weird question. Why are you asking that on such an important day? Just curious. Of course I loved you, he said without looking at her. And I still love you in my own way. In his own way, like someone who cares for an old piece of furniture that has served its purpose. I understand, Naomi said quietly. Throughout the day, Darren was frantic, calling the restaurant, checking the guest list, giving orders. By the evening, he was visibly anxious. Are you ready, Naomi? She stood before the mirror in a new, elegant dark blue dress, bought especially for this day. Ready. Then let's go. It's time for the truth to be known. The truth. Naomi grabbed her purse where the documents rested. Yes, it's time for everyone to know the truth. They didn't speak on the drive. Darren was nervous, drumming his fingers on the steering wheel. Naomi watched the city lights through the window. 25 years ago, they also rode in silence to the courthouse, but that silence was one of excitement and love. Today, it was the silence before a battle. Naomi, Darren said when they arrived at the hotel, no matter what happens today, I want you to know that I wish you the best. The best. What a cruel mockery. Thank you, Dee, she replied with a serene smile, and I wish you receive exactly what you deserve. The ballroom at the Watergate Hotel sparkled. 100 guests were seated at round tables with white roses and gold candles. At the head table sat the hosts. Naomi smiled and accepted congratulations, but inside, she was tense. The blow was coming any minute. Naomi, you look stunning today, said Marina, a coworker. 25 years together. How romantic. Yes, Naomi said, looking around. Very unexpected, all of it. In one corner of the room stood Sierra, Darren's mistress. She had been introduced as his new marketing assistant. Young, pretty, in a very expensive dress, she chatted calmly with some colleagues as if nothing were amiss. Darren Price, congratulations on your anniversary, said Mr. Michael Boudreau, the CEO of Darren's company. Rarely does one see such solid couples. Thank you, Mr. Boudreau, Darren replied, shaking his hand. Today is a special day. I even prepared a very special speech. A speech. Naomi's throat went dry. Celeste Price went from table to table, receiving compliments for her good son and the ideal wife he had. Her eyes glowed with satisfaction. She knew what was about to happen. At a small table in the back, a man in his 50s in a dark suit sat very seriously. Naomi didn't know him, but she recognized his picture. Mr. Hayes, the lawyer. He was there in case a signature was needed. Dear guests, The voice of the master of ceremonies sounded over the microphone. "May I ask for your attention? Darren would like to say a few words in honor of his wife." A silence fell. Everyone turned toward the main table. Darren stood up, took the microphone, and smiled broadly. "Friends, thank you for being here on this important day. 25 years is no small thing. It's a quarter century alongside one person." The guests nodded, raising their glasses. "I've thought a lot about our life together," Darren continued, "about what united us, what made us happy, and what didn't so much." Naomi tensed. "It's starting," she thought. "And I realized something very important. People change. What seems right when you're young can eventually turn out to be a mistake." The ballroom grew quieter. People exchanged confused glances. 25 years ago, I chose the woman who would be my life partner, guided by youthful emotions, but life taught me to see things more clearly. "Darren," Naomi murmured, "what are you talking about?" "The truth, dear. It's time to stop lying to ourselves." He turned to the guests, his voice harder, firmer. "Dear friends, I want to be honest with you and with myself. For 25 years, I endured a life with a woman who is not right for me. A gray, boring woman who doesn't know how to be the partner of a successful man." The ballroom erupted in surprised murmurs. "Darren, are you crazy?" someone yelled. "Quite the opposite," he said calmly. "I'm finally thinking clearly. Naomi needs to understand this. Our marriage is over. I'm filing for divorce." The room was stunned. Some gasped. Others held their hands to their chests. His mother, Celeste, smiled triumphantly. "Furthermore," Darren continued, feeling emboldened, "I want a fair division of assets. Naomi must leave the condo. It's time for a new life, new relationships." He looked pointedly at Sierra, the blonde, who stood in the back, barely concealing a victorious smirk. "Is this a joke?" a woman asked, bewildered. "Are you in your right mind, Darren?" his boss demanded. "More than ever," he replied coldly. "I have the right to be happy, and I'm going to exercise it. Naomi will receive what the law dictates, and we will separate on good terms." "And that young girl is your new conquest?" one of Naomi's friends shouted, pointing at Sierra. "Sierra is a wonderful woman. She understands what I need," Darren said openly, "unlike other people." That was enough. Naomi slowly rose and gently took the microphone from her stunned husband. "Thank you, Darren," she said in a quiet, almost sweet voice. "Very honest." The room fell silent. Everyone expected tears, drama, for her to run out. "You know, dear friends," Naomi continued, "Darren is right about one thing. Enough of the lies, and I want to speak the truth, too." Darren frowned. This was not in his script. "The truth is, I knew about this whole charade for 3 weeks. I knew about Sierra, about the lawyer Hayes, who's right over there in the corner, and about your plans to make me waive my rights to the condo." Mr. Hayes turned pale and tried to slip out unnoticed, but annoyed guests blocked his path. "Naomi, what are you talking about?" Darren tried to interrupt. "That your plan fell apart, darling. You see," she said, pulling a folder from her purse, "you made a tiny mistake. Our condo is not a shared asset. It was a gift from my parents, in my name, before the marriage. I have the document from the real estate lawyer." Darren took a step back. "That can't be!" "And what's more," Naomi continued, 3 weeks ago I received an inheritance from my Aunt Josephine in Germany, a condo in Munich, another luxury condo in Miami Beach, and over $1 million in cash." The silence in the room was absolute. "So, Dee, what property division are you talking about?" "You'll get half of the cabin and half of your car. Everything else is mine." Sierra, against the wall, turned paper white. "And now, the fun part," Naomi said with a smile. "Do you know how much your successful man spent on this little play to publicly humiliate his wife? $45,000 of our joint savings." The guests began to murmur in outrage. "But I'm not spiteful," Naomi continued. "Darren, you are free. Take your wonderful woman, as you called her, and live wherever you like, just not in my condo." "Wait," Darren whispered. "We can talk about this." "There's nothing to talk about. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow. Hayes can leave. I don't need him anymore." She then turned to the guests. "Dear friends, I apologize for ruining your evening, but sometimes the truth is more important than appearances. Thank you for coming. Now you know who is who." Naomi placed the microphone on the table and walked toward the exit. Behind her, a scandal erupted. "Darren, you are a complete scoundrel!" a woman yelled. "How could you do that to your wife? 25 years and you pull this?" Sierra tried to leave discreetly, but a furious group of guests blocked her path. "And what about you, homewrecker? Did you think stealing another woman's husband would be easy? Have you no shame?" Celeste Price went from table to table, trying to explain, but no one listened. Meanwhile, Naomi walked out of the restaurant and breathed the cool night air. Freedom. She paused at the door and looked back at the chaos inside. Through the large windows, she could see the house of cards Darren had built over months collapsing. He was in the middle of the ballroom, pale, confused, like an actor who had forgotten his lines. The microphone lay on the floor, guests yelling around him. Mr. Michael Boudreau, the CEO, approached him. "Darren Price, I am deeply disappointed in you after this show. I think we will have to review your position in the company." "But Mr. Boudreau, you don't understand," Darren stammered. "It's not what it looks like. Naomi twisted everything." "Twisted?" interjected Marina, one of Naomi's co-workers. "We all heard what you said. 25 years enduring a colorless woman? Aren't you ashamed?" In another corner, a different scene unfolded. Sierra, finally realizing her dream of living in a luxury condo was over, pushed her way through the angry guests. "Dee!" She grabbed Darren's sleeve. "What's going on? You promised me a condo. Where's the money you gave me for our new life?" "Shh," Darren whispered, nervously looking around. "Not here." "Why not here?" Sierra yelled, growing hysterical. "I've been waiting for 3 months. You said we'd live like kings after the divorce, and now what?" Guests turned, curious, some already recording on their cell phones. "Stop it," Darren pleaded. "We'll talk later." But Sierra let out a bitter, almost hysterical laugh. "Talk about what? You don't have a condo or money. You fooled me." She turned to the guests. "Do you want to know the truth? This successful man promised me riches for 3 months. He bought me jewelry with his wife's money. He promised me a huge downtown condo." "Sierra, shut up!" Darren screamed in desperation, but it was too late. "And he also took out loans using their shared assets as collateral," she spat out, getting carried away. "He thought his wife would never find out. He took $20,000 from Chase Bank and another $15,000 from Wells Fargo. He spent it all on me." The room was silent. Even Naomi hadn't known about that. Celeste Price, who had tried to be inconspicuous, rushed toward him. "Dee, son! What is this woman saying? What loans? What inheritance of Naomi's?" "Mom, now is not the time," Darren mumbled. "Not the time. I mortgaged my mansion to give you money for the lawyer. And now what? How am I going to pay? Another blow." Even his mother was now in debt because of his scheme. "Wait, wait," one of the guests intervened. "Did I understand correctly? The 3 of you planned to deceive Naomi?" "No, 3, 4," Sierra injected venomously. "The lawyer Hayes, too. He was going to make her sign the waiver to the condo." Everyone turned to the corner where Hayes had been sitting, but his chair was empty. The lawyer had already bolted. "Snake!" Celeste Price shrieked, lunging at Sierra. "This is all your fault. You drove my son crazy." "My fault?" Sierra retorted indignantly. "It was your son who groomed me. He told me his wife was a fool, that he'd manipulate her easily." Men separated them just as a fight almost broke out. "What a disgrace," a woman said loudly. "Mr. Boudreau, doesn't Naomi work for you?" "Yes, and she is the best controller I've had in 15 years, the CEO said firmly. After this circus, the only thing I'm going to do is raise her salary. And this guy," he looked at Darren with contempt, "should look for another job. With this reputation, he won't get far." Darren went back and forth between his mother, his mistress, and the indignant guests, trying to fix something. "People, you don't understand," he yelled. "I have the right to be happy. 25 years is too much." An older woman approached him, Aunt Clarice, Naomi's aunt. "And did you think about how she felt living 25 years with an egoist like you?" Aunt Clarice is right. Other family members of Naomi supported her. "What a disgrace. People like you don't belong in our family." "Good thing Naomi found out in time," added her cousin Dwayne. "Otherwise, you would have kept fooling her whole life." "Hey, what if we upload this to social media?" one of the young guests said. "Let everyone know who this guy Price is." "Yes," others agreed. "We have to trend the hashtag #SilverAnniversaryTrader." "No, wait," Darren begged. "Don't do it. This is my private life." "Private?" Sierra laughed. "You humiliated your wife in front of 100 people, and now you care about privacy?" Slowly the guests began to leave, first Naomi's family, then her coworkers, and then their acquaintances. As they left, each one gave their opinion. "Darren Price," a colleague said on his way out. "After tonight, don't even say you know me." "What a shame for the family," a neighbor muttered. "And now, how is he going to face people?" "You're trash," one of the men said bluntly as he passed. "You exposed your wife like she was a joke in front of everyone." Half an hour later, only the protagonists of the drama remained in the ballroom: Darren, Celeste, Sierra, and a few waiters watching curiously. "Now what?" Sierra asked, fixing her disheveled hair. "Do you have any money at all, Dee?" "Where from?" he complained. "I spent it all on the party and your gifts. And the loans? Who's going to pay them?" "I don't know. Maybe I'll sell the car." "The car?" Sierra laughed bitterly. "Are you crazy? That won't even cover the debt. And what about me? I left my ex for you." "I don't know," Darren repeated. "I don't know what to do." Celeste Price sat with her face in her hands. "And what am I going to tell Hayes? He charges for every consultation, and I even put my house up as collateral." "Mom," Darren said, approaching her, "we'll find a solution." "A solution?" She lifted her face, her eyes red. "In my 70s, I'm left homeless because of your foolishness." Then Sierra stood up, adjusted her purse, and said, "You know what? I'm leaving. You two are utterly useless. Dee, don't ever call me again. And the money you owe me for the last 3 months? Forget it. Consider it a payment for this life lesson." She paused at the door and turned. "Your wife is one badass woman. It's a shame I only met the real her today. Those are the women who deserve respect." She left, the sound of her heels echoing sharply. Darren and his mother were left alone in the ballroom amidst half-eaten plates and spilled glasses. "Dee," Celeste said softly, "what if it's not too late? What if we go see Naomi and ask for forgiveness?" Darren shook his head. "It's too late, Mom. You saw her face. She will never forgive us." "Then what are we going to do?" "I don't know," he repeated for the third time. "I swear I don't know." Meanwhile, Naomi was in a taxi back to the condo, watching the city lights. In her purse, she carried the titles to 3 properties and a bank statement showing over $1 million. The driver, an older man, looked at her in the rearview mirror. "Beautiful night, isn't it?" "Yes," Naomi said, smiling. "Very beautiful. You could say it changed my life." "That's good. Some days just change everything." "That's exactly right," she replied. Everything changed. And indeed, her life changed forever. 3 months later, Naomi was in court, watching the life of the man she had been married to for 25 years fall apart. Darren looked 10 years older, gray hair, a worn face, a cheap suit instead of his usual expensive ones. The judge, an elderly woman with glasses, reviewed the documents carefully. "Very well," she said finally. "The court decides the following. The condo on M Street in Georgetown is the separate, premarital property of Mrs. Naomi Sterling and is not subject to division." Darren panicked. His lawyer, no longer Hayes but a young public defender, just threw up his hands. The cabin property is considered marital property and is divided in half. The same goes for the Lexus ES300 car. Your Honor, Darren's lawyer stood up. My client used that car for work. Denied, the judge replied dryly. The car was purchased with common marital funds. Naomi said nothing. Her friend and lawyer, Aisha, smiled discreetly. Everything was going according to plan. Furthermore, the judge continued, it was proven that Mr. Darren Price concealed significant debts from his spouse, a $20,000 loan at Chase Bank, a $15,000 loan at Wells Fargo, and an $8,000 quick loan. The total debt is $43,000. But those are his personal debts, the young lawyer protested. According to Family Code Section 39, the judge replied calmly, debts incurred during the marriage are the responsibility of both parties. However, since the money was not used for family welfare, but for the personal affairs of the petitioner, he shall be solely responsible for their repayment. Darren went even paler. $43,000 in debt, and it was all his. This court solemnly decides, the judge concluded, to dissolve the marriage between Darren Price and Naomi Sterling. The respondent retains the condo and all bank accounts. The petitioner retains half the cabin value and half the car's value. No alimony is assigned, as there are no minor children. The gavel strike marked the end of a 25-year marriage. Leaving the courthouse, Naomi felt a strange peace, as if a great weight had finally been lifted. Naomi! Darren shouted. Wait! She turned. Her ex-husband stood on the steps, clutching a folder of documents. What do you want to say? Forgive me, he said in a low voice. I was a selfish fool. You didn't deserve what I did to you. Naomi looked at him closely. Was it sincere remorse, or did he just want to make her feel bad? Darren, she said calmly, I don't hold a grudge. We're just very different people. You wanted an easy life at others' expense. I am used to fighting for what is mine. Could we see each other sometimes, as friends? No, Naomi replied, softly but firmly. I'm sorry, but no. It's better if we each go our own way. She turned and walked toward her car, a new, elegant Audi she had bought with part of the German inheritance. Life continued, and everyone got what they deserved. A month after the divorce, Darren lost his job. The video of the anniversary party went viral on social media, and his company's CEO no longer wanted to deal with the scandal. Darren Price, his boss told him on that last day, I can't have someone on my team who made such a public spectacle. But I'm a good professional. Maybe so, but your reputation is in the gutter. I'm sorry. Finding a job was difficult. Everyone recognized him. The video even had the hashtag Silver Anniversary Trader trending. Nobody wanted to hire a man like that. He ended up working as a taxi driver with his old Toyota Camry, which he had to buy back from Naomi for half its value, $15,000. He now lived with his mother in her small, one-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of the city. Celeste had to sell her downtown mansion to pay the debts and buy something smaller and cheaper. Dee, she would say to him at night, looking at the cracked walls, don't you wish you had listened to me? Never gotten involved with that Sierra? It's too late, Mom, Darren would reply, counting his day's earnings. Too late for regrets. And Sierra? She was more than fine. 2 months after the scandal, she married a 50-year-old entrepreneur who owned a chain of restaurants. He was wealthy, though not very smart. He believed her whole story about a toxic relationship with a married man. The wedding photos Sierra uploaded to social media showed luxurious bouquets and gold jewelry. The caption read, Finally found true love, #happy, #new life. Darren saw those photos and let out a bitter smile. Sierra got what she wanted, a husband with money. But it wasn't him. Naomi lived a completely different life. She moved to her Aunt Josephine's investment condo in Miami Beach. It was a spacious, light-filled condo with a view of the ocean, a true oasis amidst the city's chaos. She didn't want to be an accountant anymore. With the money she inherited, she opened a small publishing house specializing in translations of European literature. It was her lifelong dream. "Naomi Sterling," Mr. Boudreau said when she resigned, "we don't want you to leave. Are you sure you won't reconsider?" "Thank you," she replied with a smile, "but I've found what I'm truly passionate about. I'm dedicating myself to books." "Well, I wish you the best of luck. And you know what? After everything that happened with your ex-husband, many of our female employees look up to you. A woman has to know how to defend herself." One evening, her friend Aisha came to visit. "You look so content," she asked, looking at the cozy living room. "Do you feel avenged?" "You know," Naomi replied thoughtfully, "I don't feel vengeance. I feel relief. That wasn't vengeance. I just defended my rights. The truth always wins, even if it takes time." They drank tea on the balcony, watching the lights of Miami shine. "Do you regret those 25 years?" "No," Naomi said, shaking her head. "Those 25 years taught me something invaluable, to only rely on myself and to value honesty above everything else." Her publishing house employed 5 people, talented young translators. They published beautiful books in small editions for those who appreciate good literature. "Naomi," her editor Anna said one day, "your story is very special. My mom told me she was at that anniversary. She works with your ex-boss. She says there are few women like you." "I don't consider myself a strong woman," Naomi responded. "I just decided not to be a victim." A year later, she received a letter from Darren. "Naomi, I don't know if you'll read this. I just want to say that I understand. You were the best thing that ever happened to me. I lost you because I was foolish and greedy. I don't ask for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I just want you to know that you deserve the best in the world. Be happy. Darren." Naomi read the letter and filed it away in a drawer. No anger, no sadness, just a memory of a past life. That night she went out onto the terrace with a cup of coffee. Miami glittered with lights. Music played in the distance, and the air smelled of summer flowers. She was free, financially independent, doing what she loved, and for the first time in many years, she felt truly happy. In another part of the city, Darren drove his old Toyota, carrying passengers, thinking about how one can lose everything in a single night. Yes, the truth always conquers the lie, even if it sometimes takes a while. Did you like my story, and which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you like the story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story with love and respect.